This video is brought to you by the Nova Corporation, working harder to help you live longer.
Hello players, and welcome to Gaia's Edge Online, a new, exciting, and immersive VR MMORPG experience brought to you by the company Neural Optics Virtual Advancements, or NOVA. We at NOVA wish to personally thank you for playing our game. GEO is an experience unlike any other, in which the unique class system combined with the player's creativity is where true power lies. Players have the ability to create and upgrade skills or special moves to differentiate themselves from others that may have chosen a similar class. This means that no two swordsmen will have the exact same fighting potential. As you journey through the world of Gaia's Edge, you will encounter difficult trials which can eventually bring your HP to 0. However, this does not mean that you die instantly. Instead, an 18-second counter will appear above your body, giving your comrades ample time to come and rescue you. However, for you solo players, you will not be able to revive yourself as your body becomes paralyzed during this process. If you wish to know more, please consult your player manuals for any and all information. Thank you and enjoy the game.
Is this? Is it? All right. Okay. It is currently 12:01 midnight, September 16th, 2065. Launch day of Gaia's Edge Online. It's my first day here at Nova, and, well, in GEO. Super excited. I guess it's the first day for the rest of you, too. Sorry, it's just a lot. But anyway, I'm here because I plan on discussing the adventure on this side of the helmet, if you will, so that we all can see what it's like from the outside looking in to what I'm imagining is going to be an incredible game. Seems like there's a message from the GEO AI. Neat. Well, let's just wait to see what else it has to say.
Nova would once again like to thank you for your participation in our experiment. And as part of the agreement, you will not be allowed to log out until it is completed. The only way to leave and to complete GEO is to clear the game. You must ascend all 50 floors and defeat the boss that lies in the floor 50 dungeon. Then, and only then, will everyone be able to log out of the game.
It must be a bug. First day patch will get it out, I'm sure.
I know you all must be worried about your inability to currently log out of Gaia's Edge Online. However, I can assure you that this is not a bug, nor is it a design flaw. GEO was designed this way.
I need coffee.
Yet, there is something you should all know. There is no respawning in GEO. In fact, if you die in the game, your brain will be sent a microwave signal via your headset, which permanently destroys your brain. Be careful, stay safe,
No.
and happy questing.
What?
Good luck, players.
I didn't sign up for this. No. I quit. So I guess I will not be quitting for quite some time. Boss Man made a very convincing argument for the necessity of my stay and dedication to a brighter future. Something in the lines of, it would be beneficial to my family to continue my employment and assist Nova in their specialized surveillance. So, along with monitoring the 369,997 players in GEO, I have been requested to monitor a specific player. His name is FF Rain. I'm not sure why, but I'm not in a position to question Boss Man anymore, so okay, well, here he is. Okay, for my employer's sake, as well as me and my family's, I will be documenting all of my surveillance for posterity, for whoever needs to see it, I suppose. All right, FF Rain, let's see what you've been up to. 2 weeks have passed in GEO since launch, and we start where we so often do, a party forming in a tavern. The team of players are brought together under a random event, saving a rogue, draped in a very untrustworthy cloak, who is being accosted by thugs in an alley. They learn that this rogue has just narrowly escaped death from a dungeon on the first floor of this massive online world. In fact, he was the only one of dozens who made it out alive, all the others being mysteriously slaughtered. This rogue, named Maxwell, is now being hunted by the Broken Shadow Guild, a guild of player killers and just really bad guys. All because he has information on the dungeon and maybe also information on how to clear it. Yet, this newly gathered party picks the rogue up from the ground. They look at one another, taking in their odd group, which now consists of Trinity Soul, Freelancer class, FF Rain, a Swordsman class, Graynarl, Avenger class, Duo, Magician class, Leo Spartacus, Dragoon class, and Maxwell, Rogue class. In hopes to maybe clear the dungeon themselves, this new group of adventurers retrace Maxwell's step all the way back to the dungeon's location. As they navigate across the plains and marshes of the first floor, the party encounters a player named Orin. Orin greets them heartily and tells them that he is looking for a mysterious figure, asking if the players have seen him. He tells them that this player was last seen near the dungeon just before many dead players were found. It is believed that this player has been picking off multiple and numerous players throughout the entirety of the first floor. Orin seems suspicious of Maxwell, but is pulled away as Leo welcomes him into their new traveling party. The party looks up to see the sun setting and agree that it's probably not best to go to the dungeon tonight, so they set up camp and prepare for sleep. Just as they settle in, a group of unknown and hostile players descend upon the camp. A man wreathed in a black cloak steps forward and introduces himself as Baron, a general of the Broken Shadow Guild. Baron turns and looks at Maxwell and says that he has been looking for him. Not liking the situation, the party rallies around their new rogue and face off against these intruders. A clash of steel and magic ensues. After a heated combat, the intruders and Baron are eventually struck down. This long day of questing and battle leaves the party now very tired, and they finally succumb to sleep, with Baron and the others beaten back or detained for the moment. Leo scoffs at Baron's and the Broken Shadow's attempt to subdue them, and at the rise of the sun the next morning calls his guild, Dragon's Gate, to come and help put these delinquents into custody. The Dragon's Gate's members also have Maxwell accompany them for a time to discuss the dungeon. After all, they are one of the few prominent guilds in the game at the moment and have many resources from many minds and skills to properly explore the destination with Maxwell's guidance. The rest of the party slowly awaken, with Trinity Soul, Duo, and FF Rain having struggled with sleep. They each recount terrible nightmares of death, destruction, and loss. Trying to come up with a reason as to why they each had these nightmares, they each come to a conclusion. The only thing that has changed recently was Orin's presence in their little group. The three decide that they will directly ask Orin about this and go to confront him. However, they do not have to go far, as Orin is waiting for them, with two other figures standing with him, one wielding a rapier and the other a katana. Rain, Trinity, and Duo each recognize these two figures from their own nightmares. Orin yells out, "Sorry to infiltrate your minds, but glad to see you know the faces of my friends, Tybalt and Xylock." After this brief introduction, Tybalt, with his rapier, steps forward and says that he is here to collect FF Rain. Orin's mission of recon for Rain's location is now complete, and they must now bring him to the boss. Rain can come willingly or by force. Leo stumbles out of his tent and into this exchange and demands to know who the hell these people are. Laughing, Tybalt reveals that he and his brother Xylock are here for Rain and will kill anyone who gets in their way. They then reveal that they have already killed many players, including Maxwell's party at the first floor dungeon. Tybalt then changes his icon from green to red, a signal that reveals that he is a player killer in GEO. Immediately, an intense battle ensues. It is a clash of swords between Trinity and Rain and Tybalt and Xylock. It is also a clash of minds and magic between Leo and Duo and Orin with his dark magic. At the peak of the battle, Duo unleashes a devastating bolt of lightning against an unaware Tybalt, which causes the attackers to pause and reconsider their attack. Tybalt and Orin decide to retreat while Xylock remains, standing and clapping. He laughs and tells the party that they fight well and that his guild underestimated them, but that they are still quite weak. Xylock flashes and appears next to Rain instantly, puts a hand on his shoulder, and he whispers, "Good job. We'll be seeing you soon." And then he vanishes, leaving a word scorched in the ground. Nova. Well, it seems that some members of the company are in the game. Like, what the hell kind of business model is this? And why are they killing their customers? Well, at least the health benefits and life insurance policies are incredible. I'm bored. Okay, new day, and where were we? Right. Maxwell rejoins the party, and they all head out to scout and clear this dungeon. With some skill and a fair amount of luck, the party is able to navigate the dungeon's many winding paths and treacherous traps until they find themselves standing within a large room, on the far side of which is a door. They approach the door, and beyond is a set of stairs, and as they begin to ascend, a giant skeleton hand emerges from the center of the room behind them. It stands to its full immense height, lets out a death screech, and summons a small army of skeletons. Battle ensues. The party focuses on the large skeleton and are able to bring it down with a flurry of blades, bullets, and magical bolts. As bones clatter around them, they ascend the stairs once more and open the door that's at the top. They are soon met with a warm, dry heat as a vast desert expanse spreads out across the horizon before them. They have arrived at the second floor, the desert of Dural. As they do so, a voice of GEO's AI echoes across the sky. First floor cleared. The party see a town built around an oasis in the distance, lush with commerce and life, and begin to approach. As they do, a bright light erupts from the center of the town, and the AI voice rings out again, "Second floor, now open." And players from the floor below begin to trickle into this new terrain via a teleporter system. The party heads into the Oasis City and spends some time getting much-needed rest. That night, as much of the party celebrates the city and the new floor, Duo goes walking alone, and he begins to reflect on his journey so far, as well as his past. As he does so, a strange entity appears before him. This entity says that he has been observing Duo and is impressed by the power and magical prowess that he has shown in the game so far. The mysterious player offers Duo a deal. Duo should use his skills to help crush this new party he's with and ensure that they never escape GEO. If he does, then Duo will be set free from the game. More importantly, Duo will also be set free from the prison he is in outside of the game. Duo ponders this, confused how this figure could possibly know he is a prisoner, but ultimately agrees to the deal. The man smiles and reveals that his name is Azrael, and that he is the leader of Nova. The two then vanish into the night. Belly buttons are so weird. All right, recap for October 9th. The party wakes the next morning after a night of fun and relaxation. However, they quickly notice that Duo is missing. They decide to explore around, and as they do, they stumble into a young player, dressed in an East Asiatic style, named Akechi, or Aki, who is a monk class. Aki tells them that he was heading this way when he ran into a dark-skinned mage who was heading west toward the Valley of Demise. Rain takes note of this information and becomes reserved and despondent, seemingly because it seems like Duo left them. Trinity asks him about this, and Rain states that the people he has been with the past few weeks and the past few days are the closest things he has ever had to real friends. And of course, Trinity is his first and closest. A short while later, Leo receives a message from his guild leader, Axel of Dragon's Gate, to meet him at a fortress in the desert to the far east. The party makes their way to a massive castle where Axel awaits, a congregation of other players and guild representatives with him. Axel tells the assembly that they are gathered there for the first meeting of the Guild Council. Here, they will discuss and plan on learning more about and eventually defeating the player-killer guilds, Broken Shadow and Nova. Axel shares that he and others have been watching some of these Nova members for some time, and it appears that all of these members have some ability or magic that allows them to manipulate the very game of GEO itself, though it is unclear how. Axel tasks the party with taking on members of Broken Shadow and encourages them to form a guild to bolster their forces as well as their strength. The party gets ready to leave and sees that Rain is missing. They check their logs, and his locator is far to the west on the other side of the floor. The party surmises that someone, probably Nova, must have taken Rain somehow, and so the party heads west. The party makes their way to the Valley of Demise. Leo Spartacus, headstrong and determined, rushes ahead. He reaches the area long before the rest of the party and enters a wide valley that narrows into a narrow crevasse. As he marches through, a voice rings out, telling him that he can go no further. A swordsman with a katana appears. It's Xylock of Nova. Xylock says that he has no interest in killing Leo, but orders are orders, and Leo and the rest of the party cannot pass. Leo asks about Xylock's involvement, and as well as his desire to be in Nova, and Xylock shares that he only serves to protect someone he cares about, someone whose life hangs by a thread. Leo says that's why he is here, as he cares about Rain and knows that this situation cannot be good for him. Xylock relents and lets Leo pass, but warns him that what awaits him is surely his death. Leo continues through until he finds a badly beaten Rain in a chair, a crazed Tybalt leering over him. As Leo goes to move, darkness surrounds him. Leo hears Tybalt's taunting from the shadows, saying that he has enjoyed torturing Rain, but now he has other matters to attend to. Leo attacks the darkness with his spear, and it cuts through the inky darkness. As the cloud dissipates, Leo sees Orin standing above Rain now instead of Tybalt. Orin laughs and says it was hard to convince Tybalt to allow him to kill Leo and Rain, but he is grateful that he gets the opportunity. Orin then begins to shower Leo with magical blasts of dark energy. Meanwhile, the rest of the party makes their way through the crevasse and encounters Xylock as well. Xylock now seems completely disinterested by the party's motivations and decides to just let them pass. As they do, Xylock remarks that he has issues with the leadership of Nova, as well as with his brother, and perhaps the party can do something for him and the person he cares about. Now, back to where Leo is fighting Orin. Leo dodges blast after blast, but is able to eventually pin Orin against a wall. Leo looks to Rain, who is still yet to get up. Noticing this concern, Orin laughs and sends a blast in Rain's direction, hitting him with a demon ray and sending Rain to critical HP. Leo panics, expecting to see an 18-second counter appear, but instead, Rain suddenly stands straight up, draws his sword, and lets out a primal roar, fueled by some kind of new energy. In fact, this is a passive skill that he has that allows him great strength whenever he is in great peril. With this new development, Rain and Leo attack Orin together. Orin's health begins to dwindle, and he lets out an immense blast of shadow that fills the room and flings Leo and Rain away from him. After hitting the ground, Leo notices he can barely move, and he looks up to see that his counter is above his head and is flashing 18. Rain appears fine, but is temporarily stunned and cannot move. Orin weakly limps over to Leo and stands over him. Orin prepares another spell to hurl at Leo as Leo's counter hits 12. At this moment, the rest of the party bursts into the room and see Orin standing over a dying Leo. Orin laughs, ready to blast as Leo's counter hits 6, when suddenly Leo springs forward and spears Orin through the chest. Orin gasps in shock and confusion as Leo should not be able to move. Leo smiles and then collapses to the floor. Orin's counter flashes 18 above his head, and he frantically tries to prepare a healing spell. As he is about to cast it, his counter rapidly plummets to 1 before halting. Rain's blade emerging from the side of his neck. Orin's face of shock vanishes as his body explodes into pixels. Leo looks at Rain and then over to the rest of the party, who is finally making their way close, and says, "Take it easy, everyone. I'll see you on the other side." Leo's image shakes, withers, and then fades. The party stands in silence, with Rain kneeling and crying next to where Leo had fallen. Damn. Another player lost. They have spent some time in the town of Sarabi mourning their friend's passing. At this point, Trinity begins to open up to Rain, revealing her motivations for coming into the game. She tells him that she found GEO files on her friend's corpse in real life, a friend that she cherished. Trinity tracked down the person who killed her friend and was led here into GEO, and now she is trapped like everyone else. Rain appreciates her honesty, and the relationship begins to flower. Elsewhere, Maxwell has met up with a fellow info broker, which is Maxwell's job in the game, who had been out looking for the entrance to the second floor dungeon. The entrance has been found and is in a region called the Sands of Eterna. This info broker, named Rufus, also informs Maxwell that members of Broken Shadow are descending into the Valley of Demise after the recent event, and that Duo and Tybalt have been seen with them. The party regroups and decides that they should strengthen their bond with one another. Thus, they form a guild. They name the guild the Azure Lions, in memory of Leo Spartacus, the Azure Dragoon. They begin recruiting new members: Neo Outlaw, Arcane Frenzy, Psychic Snow, Alex the Blacksmith, Rip Hunter, and a very new and interesting character, Sochi. Sochi is a Bloodmancer, which is fine, but I really hate the sight of blood. Okay, all right. The next morning, upon waking, Trinity finds that Rain has disappeared. She tells the rest of the party, and Graynarl informs them that he saw Rain heading west earlier that day, back toward the Valley of Demise, actually. So they all decide they should probably go after him. The party catches up with Rain standing on the crest of the valley. Rain says he is here seeking answers and wants to know what else is probably here. He and Maxwell sneak into the valley and go to the area where Leo had fallen. Rain lingers near the site Leo died, while Maxwell moves deeper into an area that is not seemingly registered as in the game. He wonders perhaps if this is how Nova is able to move around so quickly. Unable to find out more information, he heads back to Rain and finds him kneeling on the ground, with Tybalt standing over him. Maxwell quickly messages the rest of the guild before then trying to sneak up on Tybalt. Maxwell is able to get one solid hit in and catches Tybalt off guard. Tybalt stumbles back and scowls, saying that his hounds will take care of Maxwell and the others. Tybalt extends his arms, and 2 black, shadowy orbs appear next to him. From the orbs step out a large, primal beast of a man, and from the other, a feminine, sharp-featured woman with claws dangling from her sleeves. Fenrir and Jackal of Nova attack. The rest of the party arrives at this moment and are eager for the battle, jumping right in and attacking the Nova members. The sides are toe-to-toe for some time in the battle, but the Lions are able to isolate Jackal and bring her down to a critical state. This forces her to limp away and retreat. Tybalt becomes enraged at her cowardice, and he draws his sword, going to strike her down for her weakness. Suddenly, there is a rush of wind and a flash of light before a katana slices out at Tybalt. Psylocke steps forward and says, "She was everything to me. How could you have killed her?" Psylocke then splits Tybalt's head, and Tybalt's form erupts into pixels. The 2 remaining members of Nova vanish into shadow, with Fenrir looking at Xylock, growling,
Azrael will hear about this.
Xylock looks sad and tells the lions about his actions. He says that Tybalt had killed their own sister, held captive by Nova in order to receive power for ultimate loyalty. Xylock was only here to protect her, and now he has lost 2 siblings, as he could not let Tybalt's greed go unpunished. Xylock laughs and says he is most certainly going to die now, so he will tell the lions all that he knows. He tells them that the leader of Nova is named Azrael. He says he made it difficult to clear GEO for a specific reason, to keep people trapped in order to test his ultimate goal, Azrael's goal of building a utopia of some kind. Apparently, he seeks to form and create a better way to live, and is trialing this type of player control as a way of government. In GEO, players are nothing but variables for Azrael's twisted experiment. Xylock then reveals that there are many other members of Nova. However, there are 10 of them that are at max level in the game and will be dangerous and powerful. At this final utterance, Xylock lets out a pained scream, glitches out, and then disappears. A utopia? What is Azrael planning? How could this even be tested in a game setting? Who is this crazy madman? All right, it has been a few days, and the Lions have spent time leveling up in order to take on the second floor dungeon. With Rufus's direction, the Lions reach the dungeon and navigate through a series of puzzles and traps, just like the first floor. Upon reaching the end, there is a vast arena of sand. And as soon as they touch the sand, the floor shakes and drops as a giant abyssal worm shoots from the earth and attacks the guild. Trinity, not playing around today, gets enraged by this ugly worm, and her and Aki unleash a devastating assault against it. Trinity cuts through its head with a violent strike, and the head flops to the floor. The worm's body collapses behind it, and the lions step through the blood, both scared and in awe of this crazy woman, Trinity. They open the door on the other side of the room and step into a humid and pungent atmosphere of a jungle floor. The jungle of Viridium. The guild party make their way to the town of Arbora, located in a hollow tree in the center. They open up a portal to the third floor so that the rest of the players in GEO can join them, and the lions spend their time replenishing their strength in the company of these other players. As soon as the lions are rested, the AI's voice rings out, "Floor boss now unleashed." The lions run and look out from the branches of the tree and see a red dragon approaching, and it is scorching everything in its path. Panic and chaos erupts in the tree's hollow as players and NPCs begin to evacuate Arbora. The lions find a sole NPC who has not fled in the chaos and ask what they know about the floor and its floor boss. Yet, before he can answer, the dragon descends down and crushes the NPC. The Azure Lions begin to clash with the dragon after it lands, with Rain trying feverishly to slash the dragon as he yells, "I love dragons!" The lions are able to do some damage before they realize that they are not quite ready to take on this roaming floor boss, but they do manage to force it into a retreat. The Azure Lions realize that they probably need more XP and power, so they decide to take on some new quests. One quest takes them to ruins deep in the jungle to the east. Upon reaching these ruins, the lions begin to hear festival music starting to play, which begins quietly and then starts to crescendo, growing louder and louder until it becomes a cacophony of sound. They then see that there are gorillas dancing around and partying, seemingly having a wonderful time. The lions begin to dance, some by choice and some against their will, to this magical melody. Then suddenly, the music stops and a cloaked figure appears at the top of the ruins. The figure descends and stands before the lions. He reveals himself to be Sabal, a member of Nova, who very much likes to party and have a good time. The lions, annoyed by this man, immediately and quickly subdue and tie him up. They then torture him for information regarding Nova and their intentions. Trinity asks him about a woman named Fiona Core, a name tied to her old friend somehow. Sabal tells her that this woman is the head of the Chicago branch at Nova and is in fact more or less second in command here at Nova. And in game, her name is Persephone. After asking more questions which confirm what Xylock had told them previously, the lions make a deal with Sabal. They will let him go, and he will be their mole inside of Nova. Surprisingly, Sabal agrees. Sabal then vanishes, and after he does so, the lions finish their quest in the ruins, and upon exiting, everything seems fine until they begin to look around. They notice that 2 members are gone, Rain and Aki. Well, it turns out that Rain had gotten bored in the ruins, and he decided that he would go fight the dragon again by himself. And actually he did. And he fought quite well, all things considered. Yeah. As for Aki, the lions cannot really find any information on him. So they use Maxwell's info broker network to see if there is any information there. The lions learn that Aki was kidnapped by Nova, him being ambushed from behind while in the ruins. And this was done by a player named Irefist, who is apparently actually Aki's father. The lions then learn that Aki was taken to a secure location that is some kind of temporary base for Nova. Learning this, Graynarl mounts a rescue attempt, and after a few close calls and very poor dialogue choices, Graynarl is surprisingly able to rescue Aki and liberate him from Nova's grasp. However, Aki looks troubled as he discusses his father's terrible abuse and treatment of him, both in and out of the game, and he fears what he plans to do in the game as a member of Nova. I thought my family was bad. In order to gain more experience in GEO, the Lions take on a new challenge, a feature of GEO called the Temple of Gaia. This structure is a large building that spans all 50 floors of GEO and provides an additional challenge to players. One odd thing about it is that time actually passes differently here, and the outside world of GEO rushes by whenever the Lions decide to go inside. While inside, weeks pass by. And in that time, the floor boss, the dragon, is defeated by another guild. And this leads to the opening of the 4th floor. Upon exiting the Temple of Gaia, the Lions also learn that in these weeks, the Broken Shadow has been extending their reach further and killing more and more players in the game. With this knowledge, the Lions become angry and decide to lead an assault on the Broken Shadow at their base of operations. They overwhelm the guild and take out Baron, the leader of the guild, who had escaped from custody. Killing him severely weakened the morale of the other Broken Shadow members, and they retreated into the hills. Trying to distract themselves from so much death, the Lions decide to do something happy, and they lay out plans in order to build a guild hall. A suitable place is picked and used for construction on the 4th floor, the oceanic floor of Tanzer. I mean, now that I think about it, honestly, I don't even know how the time is working in Temple of Gaia. I've looked at the code, I've tried to analyze it, and I would be crazy impressed by a lot of these games' features and details if I was not so disgusted by this whole, prisoner and social experiment thing. I need coffee. Okay, feel the burn. Oh yeah. Richard Simmons would be proud. Okay, all right. You know what? I think I look good in those shiny shorts. Let's check Amazon. Okay, all right, where are we at today? God, it's the 30th already. All right, well, since we last left off, the guild hall for the Lions has finished construction, and the Azure Lions begin to navigate and explore more of the floor of Tanzer. Near the newly constructed base, Trinity and Maxwell find a man covered in intricate tattoos, relaxing on the beach. He seems to be fiddling with some gems as he stares out over the waves. As they approach, he introduces himself as Zorago, a shaman and gem crafter, and then he continues to stare out over the water, deep in thought. The Lions decide to invite Zorago to the Azure Lions, and surprisingly, he accepts. Okay, in cap to this day here, because I need to tell you, this is where things get complicated. It seems that Zorago is also Leo Spartacus. Yet the Lions do not know this, at least not yet. However, when comparing the codes of the players, they're from the same helmet. So it seems when Leo died, he didn't actually die because his helmet was glitched somehow. Anyway, apparently he came out of the game and was trying to make sense of what happened. He spent a few days milling around the real world before he was approached by a strange figure, a man who revealed himself to be, take a guess, Xylock in the game. What? Apparently, Xylock was pulled from the system by Nova, but was able to avoid, detainment, capture, murder, and escaped. Now, he says he wants to help Leo, as well as the Lions, and he helps him get back into the game using this unique glitched helmet. Leo ultimately struggles with the decision of going back into the game, because why would you want to put yourself back into prison? But he realizes that he really cares about the friends and decides to go back into the game. And so he and Xylock actually come back into GEO, and they each don new names. Leo as the shaman, Zorago, and Xylock as Hanzo. I learned all of this just a bit ago, but it seems important for you to know now. You'll see. Got any Overwatch fans? All right. Happy Halloween. It is Halloween! And the world of GEO has taken on an overall spooky appearance, with there seemingly having a Halloween event programmed into the game. How cool is that? Anyway, the bright and beachy feel of Tanzere has been replaced by a spooky ambiance and magical night, with all of the NPCs and guards saying, "It is spooky out there." The Lions decide to take advantage of these festivities and enjoy the holiday, where they are informed by Rufus that apparently there's a special boss or enemy specifically for this event. Its name is the Pumpkin King, and it's located on the first floor. The Lions set out to fight the Pumpkin King, and when they do, they find that others are also planning on taking down this enemy. The Broken Shadow is there, rallying what final members they have, and now the Lions must engage against a crumbling guild who are spiteful and vengeful, as well as the formidable Pumpkin King. When the Pumpkin King approaches critical health in the battle, it explodes and deals devastating damage to Rain. This causes him to reach critical HP and enter his berserk mode. When he does so, he assaults the remainder of the Broken Shadow, and in this blind rage, kills many of them. As the dust settles, Rain realizes what he has done, but Broken Shadow retreats, and Rain collapses in exhaustion. But the Lions are victorious, right? Anyway, they head back into the town, dragging an unconscious Rain by his feet behind them. Spooky. The next day, the Lions decide that they want to have a celebration for the completion of their guild hall and growing the size of their guild. As they each go about doing different activities to prepare for throwing a party, a familiar face appears within the guild hall. Sabal. Sabal had gotten word that there was to be a party, and he felt that he just needed to be there. However, that's not the only reason he actually arrived. He tells the Lions that Nova seems to be planning something, and that they should be expecting company, though he is unsure when or how. As this happens, two scantily clad ladies arrive at the guild hall. Trinity seems ecstatic by their appearance, and apparently these are women she had hired to entertain and welcome Zorago. The girls make their way towards Zorago's room, and as they reach the door, they begin trying to break it open. Maxwell was suspicious of these girls and had actually followed them up to Zorago's room. And he sees what happens when they try to break down this door. And upon this escalation, he rallies the Lions and they go to intercept the women. Before they do, the pair is knocked back, and out of the room walks a familiar person. but it is not Zorago. It's Leo? It's Leo Spartacus. It seems that Zorago had a glitch of some kind and reverted to his Leo form because of the helmet. That's what. Anyway, but he does not have time to get into it right now because they're in the middle of a fight. So anyway, the two characters reveal themselves to be members of Nova, Death Scythe and Lovelace. They attack the Lions, but are outnumbered and easily outmatched. Lovelace manages to escape, but the Lions are able to trap Death Scythe. They make a deal with her. If she works for the Lions from now on, then she will get to keep her life. Death Scythe agrees to this, and now the Lions have 2 moles within Nova. You know, I keep recording these, and I'm kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of fun, but I get the feeling based upon what I say that I don't think the boss is actually watching these videos. If these people are actually doing this stuff. I mean, how would these informants not be dead? Wait, does that mean it's just me with these videos in this room alone? It's so lonely. To bide time and figure out what to do next, the Lions decide to take on a bounty. This bounty has the Lions take on a Naga and its minions. They're able to defeat these enemies easily enough, but the Lions notice that someone seems to have been watching them, specifically Trinity, the entire fight. The Lions confront this figure off to the side, and the figure is acting strangely and mumbling something about Trinity Soul and Rain. Zorago attempts to intimidate the stranger and learn his intentions, but the stranger panics, shoots a large gust of wind, and knocks Zorago back. Rain, seeing this, attempts to assault the man, but his fists make no purchase and pass through. The stranger then launches toward Trinity, grabs her, opens a dimension door, and flies through with her in tow. Trinity soon finds herself flying over the ocean, the captive of a person named Soul Grimoire. He tells her that he is her soulmate and that Rain is not meant to be with her. Soon, Trinity lands with Soul Grimoire in front of a door in the middle of the ocean. They enter what appears to be the floor dungeon, and it seems to be where Soul Grimoire has set up shop. Upon going inside, Trinity is able to sneak a message to her guild describing her location before having to converse with the creep. The guild makes their way across the ocean on a ship and toward Trinity's position. They arrive and find Trinity, who has already started strangling this creepy kidnapper. However, the creep begins to disappear, turning into a puddle of water. Then the real Soul Grimoire appears off to the side, laughing, and says that Trinity will love him eventually. The Lions try to fight, but this man keeps making more and more water clones of himself, and they cannot seem to find the real version. Rain, while fighting, suddenly goes stiff before starting to move and act seemingly against his will. Then he talks, and it's not his voice, but that of this creep, Soul Grimoire. He's in Rain's body somehow. Anyway, Trinity is paralyzed in disbelief at this possessed Rain, and as they make their way toward her, Soul Grimoire, in Rain's body, states that he understands why Trinity does not reciprocate his feelings. He states that he has had it all wrong. He knows now that he must kill Rain before Trinity can truly love him. He says that he will destroy Rain from the inside, smiles, and then leans in for a kiss. Then, without warning, Rain's body goes stiff, contorts, and his face becomes pained as his body suddenly explodes into blue water and pixels, which begin to seep into the floor. The Lions, shocked, try to process this tragedy. And as they do so, a familiar figure walks down the steps of the dungeon, a swordsman. He introduces himself as Hanzo before making his way over to Zorago. He looks sad and distraught as he gazes towards Zorago. Hanzo then reveals himself to actually be Psylocke. He says he has been following the Lions and had sought to help Rain in this moment of crisis after he saw him being possessed. However, when he tried to split them, something went wrong and stopped him from issuing the command. He says that Persephone is the only one he knows who has power such as what Soul Grimoire has, meaning that she must be involved somehow. He tries to calm the Lions by telling them that Rain is not dead, at least as far as he knows, but it's impossible to know where he ended up. To clear their minds, the Lions decide to hold a PvP tournament because what's a better way to vent your frustration than through bloodshed? Many players enter the tournament and things get underway with heated battles of strangers and friends alike. During the tournament, Maxwell gets suspicious of a contestant who was fighting with a magic he thought he recognized. Maxwell starts following this contestant, who disappears into a dark alley and seems to be sending a message to somebody. Maxwell tells Trinity about this, and then the two approach him and see that the contestant is Duo. Duo smiles at them and says that he came into this tournament in order to give the Lions a message. Rain is alive, but may not be for very long. The rest of the Lions are informed of this, and Zorago becomes irate. He returns to the arena and decides to tell everyone in the crowd what is really going on in GEO. He tells them that Nova and its members are actually experimenting on the players to generate their version of a utopia. The hundreds of thousands of lives that are in the game are nothing but guinea pigs to Nova as they perform their twisted experiment. With this, Zorago sends out a call to arms, rallying any and all who are willing to come together and rebel against Nova. After his speech, a lone woman comes into the stadium clapping. Persephone. She laughs maniacally and tells the arena that she will kill them all and she will savor every scream. Persephone then tells Duo he was taking too long and she was impatient and needed to kill something now. She goes to attack and kill Duo, saying that he was just bait for the Lions anyway. He never really was Nova after all. Hearing Zorago's speech and Persephone's taunts, another player has risen in the stands and begun to walk toward Persephone. He pulls out two swords and lunges at her, intercepting her attack against Duo. This player, Rain, looks up at Persephone and smiles, saying, "Look behind you." She turns and Zorago smashes a hammer into her head, sending her flying into the ocean nearby. After this, the Lions quickly head into the guild hall, which is supposed to be a safe zone. However, apparently, Nova does not abide by these rules as Persephone, wet and angry, appears in the center of the hall. She angrily screams that she will kill them all for humiliating her, and as she goes to cast a spell, 11 more figures quickly appear in the guild hall, all wearing black cloaks. All of the members of Nova are now standing in the Azure Lions guild hall. One of them steps forward, and a silence and eeriness fills the hall. It is Azrael, the leader of Nova. He looks to Persephone and tells her that is enough. He then turns to Rain and says, Rain will join them all soon enough, but he can have one more chance to join willingly. Then, just as quick as they came, all members of Nova vanish. A few minutes later, 3 familiar Nova members reappear, Sabal, Death Scythe, and Duo. They tell the Lions that things are going to get bad, but they don't really know how bad because Azrael doesn't tell anybody anything. Zorago gets angry at this and he asks Sabal to set up a message that he can send all across the floors of GEO. It's a rallying cry to stop oppression and the tyranny of Nova in the game, an invitation to join the Azure Lions and to clear the 50th floor, to take out Nova so that all the players can be free. After this message is sent, Duo approaches the Lions and apologizes for everything. He was misguided and misled by false promises. Worse, he was used as nothing but a tool. He seeks to remedy his mistakes and to help the Lions from now on. They reluctantly agree and welcome him back into the ranks, but with obvious suspicion. Ooh, I know. If I do this. Oh, look, he has a tongue. Do you want to be my friend? No! The Lions decide to test their mettle by entering the Temple of Gaia once more. They enter and are greeted by hallways filled with a series of doors. The Lions start testing the doors when a member of Nova appears amidst them. He identifies himself as Iridian and that he is fascinated by the Lions and their physical prowess. But society cannot rely on strength alone, and thought and intellect must be stimulated and investigated for study. So he issues them a challenge and a test. There is a poor child left alone, dying in this temple. The Lions must hurry and solve a series of puzzles, riddles, and mazes that Iridian has prepared in order to save her. If they take too long, the child will die, and so may the Lions. Iridian cackles and vanishes. The Lions begin opening doors and working their way through the puzzles that lay beyond. After countless puzzles, the Lions enter a room that has a little girl sitting in the middle of the floor. They approach her and ask her name, telling her that she is safe now. She tells them that her name is Rydia and that some bad man took away her parents, then trapped her in here. As they help her up, Iridian's voice echoes out from the far reaches of the room. He says that the lions did much better than he expected, but he was never planning on letting them out alive. Then there is a low growl and a large rumble as a massive figure moves out from the shadows. Standing before them is a large demon, and Iridian's laugh echoes once more before going silent, followed by this large demon rushing toward the lions. They are able to defeat this demon, but at the cost of extreme damage and exhaustion. And Rydia does not seem to be doing well. They limp out of the temple and into the open air of the 3rd floor. As they do so, they become flooded with notifications of messages and warnings. It seems a lot had happened when the lions were in the temple, with 4 days having passed this time.
Tempest! Ah, fuck! Ah, shit! Tempest.
While the lions were gone in the Temple of Gaia, many players tried to access and clear the 4th floor dungeon. However, it was more of a challenge than they expected, and many players lost their lives, including that of their guild member and friend, Aki. Deeply saddened, the lions hold a memorial for Aki, and Maxwell commissions a statue of him be made, so his memory can be immortalized. Shortly after the memorial ends, Hanzo and Sabal return to the guild hall to offer condolences and to speak with the dragons. Yet, they are not able to talk much before Sochi begins to berate Sabal. She tells the lions that she is in this game because she is looking for her child who was kidnapped in real life, though she has no idea why. She knows that Sabal was involved thanks to information that she had requested from Rufus and other info brokers. Sabal insists that he does not know what she is talking about, but he will find out all the information he can. Sochi does not believe him and promises she will boil all of his blood if he does not get the answer she wants. Sabal quickly departs to find more information about Nova, obviously scared of this woman. After this, Maxwell decides to go and harvest supplies to make something special for Aki's statue. While out, he is intercepted by a man in a dusty cloak, a large jungle hat, and who is wielding a large bow and gun. He gives a brief pleasantry, saying his name is Orson, and that he is here to hunt Maxwell. Maxwell runs, and as he does so, he sends a message to the lions, who begin to head his way. The lions arrive, and they all begin facing off with Orson, but he seems to be extremely powerful and skilled, way beyond their talents. No matter what they do, he is able to counter it. Orson seems like he is just about to unleash a powerful move when he stops as 2 more strange figures appear beside him. These figures, a Farseer and a Druid, tell him that is enough for now. And they inform him that he will have his chance to handle his prey soon. They turn to the lions and say that they will be seeing them all in the future and vanish. The lions are left alone, wondering who the hell these new people were. The lions next set off to clear the 4th floor dungeon. They progress through a relatively tame dungeon before finding themselves in another boss room with a large door on the far end. As they look for signs of how to open the door and proceed, Ray notices that the floor appears to be moving. He bends down and notices 2 eyes looking at him. They blink slowly, and then a mouth erupts from the water, swallowing Rain. The rest of the lions turn to see a large snake-like body slide and coil out of the water before twisting its head and issuing a guttural screech. A Leviathan, the floor boss of the 4th floor, towers above them. A grueling battle ensues, with the Leviathan's gaze causing the lions to misstep and misaim through some weird mechanic, making the fight longer than expected. However, they are able to defeat it, and as they do, the belly of the Leviathan begins to wriggle and twist as a blood-soaked rain spills out of it. The door in the room opens, and the lions head now to the 5th floor. The lions climb the stairs and open the door, stepping out into a dusky and fogging nightscape. All around are dying trees and an eerie wind whistling through the night. Bats fly overhead, and the lions find themselves on the 5th floor of Vania. They make their way to a nearby town, which appears almost abandoned, save for a few houses with dim lights in their windows. They knock on one of the doors, and an NPC appears, informing the lions that they are in the town of Trevor, one of 4 towns in Vania. The NPC also tells them that each of these towns is blighted by an evil creature or presence. The lions acknowledge this and conclude that they probably have to kill these creatures to liberate the towns and progress to the 5th floor dungeon. The NPC says that their town is plagued by werewolves, and that the lions should obtain silver before trying to fight the beasts. The Lions acknowledge this, but first decide to go to the teleport gate to allow players from lower floors to ascend and maybe help them. However, as they approach, they find it remains inactive for some reason. They surmise that the floor not being cleared of the beasts must be preventing them from using this system. The Lions first head to the town of Simone. The town looks in better shape than Trevor, but there is a similar ambiance and strangeness as no NPCs can be seen out and about. The Lions go door to door and try to interact with some of the NPCs, but they all ignore the Lions or refuse to answer. The Lions spot a house, isolated from the rest, that is actually in pretty good condition. After they knock, a sweet-looking NPC opens the door. He apologizes for the way the other NPCs have been acting, but he says they are simply just scared. He invites them inside and inquires why the Lions are there. They tell him that they are trying to free the 4 villages, and the NPC laughs, saying that only the most powerful of physical and magical fighters could possibly do so. Leo boasts that he is actually quite powerful and begins showing off to the NPC. The NPC laughs in joy, as if he believes in Leo's abilities, and then places his hand on Leo's shoulder. Suddenly, Leo is racked with pain, and his body begins to split apart as the NPC disappears into him. Then, there are 2 people standing, one body of Leo Spartacus and one body of Zarago. Zarago looks at the other half of his body, Leo, in obvious confusion. This false Leo, wielding a spear, turns and lunges at Trinity. Just as this false Leo goes to bring the spear down on Trinity, his body twists and writhes. A shadowy figure slides out of Leo's body and forms itself into a wispy humanoid figure with a wicked grin. It is a demon that has somehow possessed Leo, Zarago. I'm just going to call him Lirago from now on, okay? Anyway, Maxwell looks up from his new holopad with a grin, as it seems he was able to successfully remove this entity from Lirago, leaving it vulnerable. The Lions now easily defeat this demon, and as they do, they get a notification that the teleportation system now has access, being restored. The Lions make their way now to the next town of Lyon. On their way to Lyon, the Lions run into a group of hooded acolytes who insist that all must worship Lord Death. When the Lions say, no, the acolytes attack. They are dispatched easily, but their blood begins to soak into the ground, and as it does so, a skeletal hand bursts from the earth, followed by a skeletal body cloaked in black, which is wielding a large scythe. The skeletal figure stands to a full immense height, and large wings sprout from its back. It lifts its scythe and swings it at the Lions. Of course, the Azure Lions defeat the beastie and again try to continue on to Lyon, seeing its outline in the distance, though it is obscured by a thick fog. However, no matter how long or far they walk in this fog, the town does not seem to be getting any closer. So, the Lions agree that they must have to come back and instead head toward the 4th town of Richter. They enter Richter and find a desolate town filled with stone statues of various creatures and beasts, as well as many stone people. They soon discover that the cause of these statues is a Gorgon which is slithering along the main street. The Lions ambush the Gorgon, carefully avoiding its gaze, and dispatch it with relative ease. Here, they find some silver, which they had been looking for, and then return to Trevor, killing the werewolves that were haunting the civilians. Now, with only one town left, the Lions head back to Lyon and see that the fog is finally lifted. As they walk into the town, the Lions catch a horrible smell on the wind and hear a beating of wings. They look up and see a dragon swooping down toward them. And as they look closely, Rain, shaking with joyous anticipation, the Lions notice something is wrong with it. It appears to be rotted and decaying. It's a zombie dragon. The Lions have yet another grueling combat encounter in which Rain and Trinity unleash hellish attacks against the dragon, causing it to retreat into the air. When this happens, Greynar teleports into the sky with Maxwell's assistance, enlarges himself, and then grapples the dragon's neck. He does this mid-flight and drags it down with him to the earth as he plummets into the ground. The dragon splats into the ground with a sickening squelch, and all goes still. Having settled most of the 5th floor and needing rest, the Lions head back to the guild hall on the 4th floor. While the Lions relax, Maxwell and Greynar discuss a previous bounty requiring the slaying of a kraken in the oceans of the 4th floor. They rent a boat and take it out toward the location of the bounty, and the water begins to roil and take on an inky black color. Tentacles slowly reach out from the water and begin to circle around the Lions in their boat, who realize that they might actually be in over their heads. The kraken begins to assault the boat and splinter its hull. Then, almost casually, Grey Gnarl pulls out a portable hole. And just as calm, Maxwell pulls out another portable hole. They look and nod at each other and then launch the two items at the Kraken. The Kraken lets out a confused gurgle before its vast body suddenly vanishes in a twisting of time and space. Graynarl receives a notification that the bounty is complete, smiling contently to himself. The reward is a new galleon all of their own, which they aptly call the Black Hole. Man, I am sure the developer that put that monster in the game is pissed that this happened. Woo! Okay, so upon returning to the guild hall, the Lions are met by Sabal, who bears information for Trinity. He tells her that her friend from back home, Cassandra, is in the game and is part of Nova. He remarks it seems that she did not want to be in Nova or the game, but was always loyal to her boss and followed her orders. Apparently, her boss is Persephone, or, as she's known in the real world, Fiona Core. Over time, it seems that Persephone has slowly corrupted Cassandra and made her more sinister and twisted, a mirror image of her horrible boss. While talking, young Rydia, the girl saved from the Temple of Gaia, comes into the main hall and asks Sabal if he knows anything about her parents. Sabal looks sad and tells the Lions that Rydia's parents were captured by Nova. The Lions tell Sabal to lead them to the Nova HQ so that they can find Rydia's parents, but of course they leave Rydia to wait behind. Arriving at the Nova base, the Lions sneak their way around and go to the room where Rydia's parents are located. Inside, they find Iron Fist and Lovelace torturing Rydia's parents. The Lions attack the Nova members. Lovelace, having lost a battle to the Lions before, bolts out of the room in order to get help. The Lions then begin fighting Iron Fist, and as they do, another Nova member walks in, Iridian. The Lions focus their attention on Iridian and pummel him down, enraged that he put Rydia through so much pain. They kill Iridian, and then they bring Iron Fist down to critical health, dying. The Lions free Rydia's parents and begin to head out before Lovelace returns with more Nova members, Persephone, Soul Grimoire, Shadowvane, and Azrael. Maxwell tries to escape with Rydia's parents as Trinity taunts and insults the Nova members, but this taunting simply angers Azrael, and in this anger, he turns toward Maxwell, snaps his fingers, and causes Rydia's parents to pixelate and disappear. The Lions stand in shocked silence. Breaking the silence, Persephone steps up and makes Trinity an interesting offer. She can give herself up so that they can get rid of Rain's anchor to the Lions, or she can watch as all of her friends die one by one around her. Trinity, wanting to save her friends, except Graynarl, agrees to go with Nova, but only if the Lions can leave. Persephone nods, and Maxwell pulls the Lions into a shadow so that they can all escape, leaving Trinity behind. When the Lions make it back to the guild hall the next day, they find Rydia waiting for them in anticipation. There is a prolonged silence as Rydia asks where her parents are. Leo and Rain step forward and tell her that her parents did not make it. Rydia is crushed by this news and runs off to her room to cry and mourn. The Lions reflect on the past day and decide that some good should come out of all the pain. Rydia may have lost her parents, but she did not lose a family. Maxwell pulls out his guild roster menu and scrolls down to add player. He puts in Rydia's name, and now below her name in everyone's friends list stands the nameplate, the Azure Lions. Struggling to deal with Trinity having to sacrifice herself, Rain gets extremely flustered and decides that he must stubbornly go and attack Nova at their HQ. So, once again, Rain heads off in a blind rage. I know the boss told me to watch this kid, but I don't know if I can handle it anymore. This kid has some serious main character syndrome. I mean, it's going to kill him someday. Anyway, Rain is not very sneaky in his assault, and Azrael quickly appears to confront him. Azrael tells him that he needs to stop running from the truth, whatever that means, and the two begin to clash. During this time, Trinity wakes up in Nova's care, finding herself in a white room, and next to her is an old friend, Cassandra. Cassandra tells her that she's sorry for everything that has happened, and sorry that Trinity has had to struggle. She tells Trinity that she does not have to struggle anymore, though. She simply needs to just submit and join Nova. Cassandra then tells her something strange, that Rain technically already works for Nova, so everything would be great. Trinity does not believe her, though, and dismisses her. Cassandra lowers her head and says it will be clear in time before leaving Trinity alone. Now, back in the guild hall, Sabal appears and reprimands the Lions for storming Nova HQ so foolishly, and that they let Rain then go out again on his own. However, there is some interesting information that has come out. It seems Rain is a captive, both in-game and out of game. You see, there was a recent development in which agents of Nova out of the game were able to locate Rain's body and his headset and have since transferred him to Nova's main facility, meaning he is fully in Nova's grasp. Oh, wow. I had no idea that transfers were made to the HQ here. I mean, I need to get out of this room more. As the next day begins, there is a commotion in the main hall after Rain stumbles through the front doors of the guild. He tells the rest of the Lions that Deathscythe just saved him by sacrificing her own life. Using a special ability she had, Deathscythe swapped the appearances and identity of herself with Rain. She then pretended to be in prison so he could escape. Meanwhile, Trinity still sits in her white room and stares at a crudely drawn window on the wall, 5 minutes seeming like 50 years. Then there is a knock at the door and someone enters. It is Rain? He begins talking to Trinity about Nova, saying that they're not so bad and that she should join them. Trinity is hesitant of this Rain at first, but begins to be wooed with promises of their life and love together. Trinity, enamored, embraces Rain, kisses him deeply. And as she holds him close, she pulls out her battle axe, and then steps back and drives it deep into his face. Rain stutters and steps back in shock before exploding into pieces in torrents of blood. After slaying fake Rain, or who Trinity thinks is fake Rain, Persephone comes in and lets out a sigh, saying that she tried to do this the easy way, but Trinity just had to make things difficult. So Persephone begins working with Trinity and subjecting her to mental torture as she tries to convince Trinity to serve and obey Nova. Trinity submits, rather quickly actually, and convinces Persephone that she will follow any orders. Persephone smiles and says that when the time comes, Trinity will kill the Azure Lions. Trinity, lying of course, agrees to this and then is teleported to the 4th floor near the guild hall.
Welcome to my kingdom. I'm the Goblin King.
That was from one of my favorite TV shows as a kid. Now, the Lions are relaxing in the guild hall when Trinity just casually walks in. She sees Rain and runs to him. She tells the Lions that she was held in a weird tower, but was released after something weird happened within Nova. The Lions assume that this has to be a consequence of Rain's recent escape and cause of confusion. Before they can discuss further, a game-wide announcement is made. 5th dungeon now clear. The 6th floor is now open. I'm getting pretty good at that. Anyway, the Lions excitedly head to the teleporter and make their way to the new floor. When they enter, they are met by cold, brisk winds and peaks and mounds of cascading snow and ice. They are now on the alpine and tundra floor of Biram. On their way to the town nearby, the Lions find a tall, shadowy knight waiting for them on the road. The knight is clad in heavy black armor and is sitting upon a warhorse. The knight introduces himself as Silas, and he says that he is a messenger who has come to warn the Lions. The message: the Lions must repent for their transgressions against the gods or be damned. He then tells the Lions that they will soon be visited by the Forbidden Six, a powerful order who serve the true gods, Nova. He tells them they have already met one of them, a beastmaster named Orson. Yet there are others, and they punish those who go against the will of the gods. Trying to dismiss this, Graynarl attacks Silas, but Silas casually knocks Graynarl aside and then deals a blow laden with the strange, dark, magical power which lays Graynarl flat on his back. Graynarl quickly concedes, and the Lions all realize that these Forbidden Six are extremely powerful, but very crazy. Only thing scarier than powerful people is powerful and crazy. I mean, just look at Trinity. That's all I'm saying. Now, assuming their sin must have been the public rebellion against Nova, Leo tells the guild that he is going to make a system-wide announcement again in order to call off the rebellion. He's going to say that everyone is too weak and he was too mistaken to challenge the gods. But in the shadows, Maxwell, Rufus, and their network of info brokers will go around the floors of GEO, delivering information about how this announcement is nothing more than a red herring for Nova and the Forbidden Six. The revolution will still grow and foster, but in secret. A week has passed as the Lions wait for the Forbidden Six to show themselves, with them having spent the time in the Temple of Gaia once more in order to gain levels and experience. After arriving back to the guild hall, the Lions see a dark knight, Silas, and he's standing near the entrance. But he is not alone, as he is surrounded by 5 other figures. The Lions anticipate a fight, but are surprised when the druid of the group steps forward and placates with his hands raised. He tells the Lions that the Forbidden Six are surprised, but relieved that the Lions had made the recent decision to repent. However, they will be observing the Lions closely and will be sure to return if they continue to sin. The Forbidden Six then disappear. The Lions take a breath of relief before then saying they should push on and go explore the 6th floor of Biram some more. Here, they take a quest to kill or return an Ice Queen who lives in a palace off to the south. Of course, as the Lions approach, they are encircled in a massive blizzard. As they continue walking, they see hundreds of statues of frozen creatures and players, some of which begin to move. Out from the blizzard emerge a large tiger, bear, and wolf, all made of ice, and all which attack the Lions. The Lions are able to easily defeat these creatures, but it seems like something was odd about them. One of them had bitten Leo, and the area where he was bitten had begun to turn to ice, radiating out slowly across the rest of his body. The ice spreads over him entirely and causes him to turn into a translucent, icy visage. The Lions are horrified, begin running to the palace, noticing that their legs and parts of their bodies seem to also be slowly turning to ice, as if affected by the blizzard. Just as all hope is about to be lost and the party consumed by frost, they reach the palace, and the Ice Queen reveals herself. They ask her to lift the curse and unfreeze everything and return with them to the village. She says that she will, but her spell is powerful and requires a special ingredient to break. A kiss from one who is pure of heart and honest. Maxwell, without hesitation, steps forward, embraces the Ice Queen, and leans in to kiss her. A magical warmth spreads from the pair and rushes across the snowy landscape, clearing the blizzard and thawing all of the statues that littered the way to the palace. The Lions head back and see all of the players thawing, Leo shaking water from his boots. While walking, a woman approaches the party, and Graynarl's face goes pale. He makes his way to the woman, who has a very familiar face. It is his wife, Rebecca, or rather, ex-wife. Graynarl asks how and why she is here in GEO. She tells him that after they split, she had a hard time and eventually just tried this game to do something new, but became stuck like everyone else. Rebecca asks Graynarl what he has been up to in the game and is surprised when he tells her of all of his exploits. She did not believe he was capable of ambition, action, or change. Graynarl laughs and tells her that, despite everything, he still wants her to be safe and protected. So, he invites her to join the guild. The Lions head back to town and to the villagers with the Ice Queen in tow. The Ice Queen thanks the Lions and then tells them to return in 3 days for a proper reward. The Lions bow and then head back to their guild hall. I just want to say, in all of GEO, I was not expecting a true love's kiss, kind of situation. Get it, Maxwell? Also, sorry, Graynarl. That is super awkward. Good luck, bud. I got this at a thrift store. The lions wake the next day and find that there is something strange going on in GEO. All of the enemies have been replaced with turkeys, everything from the smallest crab to giant behemoth. The lions enjoy the day of festivities by slaying many a turkey. Trinity and the others also help make a massive turkey dinner, and the lions engage in merriment and friendly conversation into the night. Happy Thanksgiving, I guess. Oh. After the celebration of Turkey Day, the world of GEO has returned to normal. Well, as normal as it can be in a game where people are essentially prisoners and lab rats. Anyway, Trinity begins inspecting their new guild member, Rebecca, closely, and she notices something rather odd. She puts her ear against Rebecca's stomach and gasps. Trinity informs Rebecca that she is pregnant. That would only be possible if she was already pregnant when she entered the game. Rebecca goes pale and looks embarrassed, telling Trinity that the baby is definitely not Grey Gnarl's. In fact, just before this game launched, and as the relationship had come to an end, Rebecca had been spending time and sleeping with Grey Gnarl's best friend, Ricardo. Trinity takes this juicy gossip and pockets it for later. Rebecca! What? Honey, okay. Later, the Lions are in the guild hall relaxing, with Trinity and Rain telling a story of their past to the rest of the Lions. Rain starts discussing the merits of milk when his voice suddenly cuts out and his body goes rigid. Without warning, he draws his swords and takes a battle stance. As soon as this happens, Trinity receives a message from Persephone saying that the time to act is now. She must attack and betray the Azure Lions, or Rain will die. Trinity is torn about this and is unsure what to do. She looks to Rain, takes in a deep breath, and makes a decision. She rushes to be beside Rain and draws out her weapons, ready to face off against the Lions. Then she quickly turns to Rain and hits him in the back of the head, knocking him out. She informs the Azure Lions of the situation that she's in, and then an angry Persephone manifests in the guild hall. Persephone exclaims that Trinity should not have been able to withstand her manipulation and goes to cast what seems to be a very powerful spell. As she does so, her body begins to sway slightly, with her foot tapping to a rhythmic beat. Persephone turns her head to see Sabal, who seems to be forcing Persephone to dance against her will. Sabal tells the others that he has upgraded their ship with a booster system, making it essentially an airship, and that they should get on board and the hell out of here. So the Lions pick up Rain and board the airship. On the ship, Rain comes to, and they ask him, what the hell happened and what's going on? Rain says he does not know, but he does not know what's going to happen next, and he feels like he needs to explain some things to them. He says his real name is Zachary Caraway, and Azrael is his father, Victor Caraway. Rain says he was subjected to years of mental abuse by his father, and when he was 16, had a traumatic experience that signaled the end of the relationship with his abusive past. He was hit by a car and sent to the hospital, but his family never came to check on him or seemed to care that he was even suffering. So he emancipated himself from the hospital and set off alone. After this bombshell, Persephone appears from over the side of the ship and tells them that Rain must be handed over because he is Azrael's property. She then opens what appears to be a special menu and clicks a button. Rain goes rigid once more, and the crystal above his head begins to glow before then shooting a massive beam of light into the sky. Rain begins to scream as his body slowly is pulled up and up toward the beam of light. Then he vanishes, as does Persephone, leaving the Lions silent and without Rain once again. Why are they making me watch this poor kid? He just keeps getting kidnapped and tortured, like... I need a nap. Wait, Victor Caraway? That's my... The next day comes and the Lions find that Sabal is still alive, surprisingly, having been able to escape after making Persephone boogie. The lions are happy and leave him to tinker more on the airship while they head to the 6th floor for their reward from the Ice Queen. The Queen greets them and immediately holds up her hand and gives them their reward. She casts a vortex near the lions, which instantly pulls them inside and throws them into a dark, icy cavern. Before they can make sense of their surroundings, they notice bodies stirring from what appears to be a wall? And the wall seems to be getting bigger. No, it is just crawling toward them. The lions mount an attack against this wall of writhing flesh and limbs, narrowly claiming victory as the wall stops and withers just a few feet from crushing them all. Beyond the mess of flesh lies another stairwell and another door. Upon opening it, the lions find themselves standing on a cliff overlooking a beautiful dystopian metropolis, a network of streets, pipes, and lights that seem to be breathing and living as its own entity. They make their way toward the city on the 7th floor of Dragmire. The lions explore the city, and all seems to be fine until Grey Gnarl gets into a disagreement with the shopkeeper and accidentally destroys a stand in the man's shop. The military police force is summoned, and Grey Gnarl ends up fighting and injuring many of them, exclaiming, "This is all a misunderstanding!" He is detained and is escorted to a large prison on the outskirts of the city, while his guild looks on in disbelief. Grey Gnarl, it's been 5 minutes on the new floor. Like, when will you learn that your actions have consequences? You know, I take it back, actually. They never seem to do for you. God, I hope you get what's coming to you. The lions decide that Grey Gnarl cannot stay in prison, and they have Sabal finish the upgrades to their ship, so they can use it to storm the prison and liberate Grey Gnarl, though Trinity begs that they leave them there. The lions take their new ship, rechristened the Azure Star, and head to save Grey Gnarl from his own stupidity. When they arrive, they find a tall concrete structure that rises far into the sky. The lions hatch a plan to get Grey Gnarl out. One team, Team Siege, will remain on the ship and launch barrages of cannon fire at the prison, while the other team, Team Sneak, will enter from the top of the prison and make their way down until they find Grey Gnarl. Little do they know that at that same time, Grey Gnarl is currently mounting a riot within the prison itself, having beaten up guards and stolen their weapons. Team Sneak does not have to go far before they find Grey Gnarl surrounded by downed guards. Then, a massive hole appears in the prison from Team Siege's barrage, allowing the lions to escape. However, the blast severely damages the supports of the prison, and it collapses behind them as they fly away into the sunset. Upon returning to the guild hall, the lions find a distressed Sabal. He informs the lions that he and Hanzo have news about Rain. It seems that Nova has been using various torture and conditioning methods, such as electroshock therapy, to try and convert Rain, to make him obey them so that he can carry out his true purpose, whatever that means. Wait. So that means Rain is here somewhere, right? Where? Also, new development. The door has always been like locked or guarded, so I can't leave. But update, it's now pneumatically sealed. So I am stuck in here for who knows how long, with nothing but my thoughts. Rain, I want nothing more than to be with you, to take you on a wild ride of passion, intimacy.
Oh, Trinity, I love you so much. Be mine. Embrace me.
You animal! 2 days pass uneventfully until there is a knock at the guild hall door. On the other side are the Forbidden Six. They ask the lions about their recent contacts and interactions with the Nova gods, and how they are able to communicate so freely with them. Leo tells them that these gods are actually not all equally strong and have a range of powers. In fact, they even have killed some of these lesser gods, such as Orin or Tybalt, because they were impure. Then Sabal walks in to talk to the lions, and all of the Forbidden Six kneel before him. He looks confused at first before Leo sends him a message that these people think he is a god and will do his bidding. Sabal says, "Now it's a party. and uses the opportunity to tell the Forbidden Six that they should attack and kill any of the lesser gods because they have tried to rebel and betray Azrael. The Forbidden Six agree hesitantly and leave. As they depart, they tell the lions that the next floor dungeon is under the ruins in which Grey Gnarl was rescued, as a sign of good faith. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. I wish I could leave this room and see my family. Happy birthday. To me. The lions return to the ruined prison and open a hatch hidden beneath the rubble. They enter a room with a large dormant structure in the center and pods of yellowed liquid lining the walls. Looking into the pods, they can see that there are creatures inside, suspended in some kind of stasis. As Maxwell looks into one of these pods, a skull turns to face him. The glass cracks and explodes out as a skeletal behemoth lunges at the lions. As battle progresses, more and more creatures begin to burst from these pods that line the room. The lions are eventually able to fend off and bring down this menagerie of monsters. Yet, they had not noticed that the blood and acid from these monsters had begun to pool and enter the base of the central structure. Having all the blood from the monsters slain, the structure activates, and from underneath emerges a grotesque abomination, an amalgamation of pieces and parts from various creatures and monsters. The abomination proves a challenge to the lions, but it is bested by them in the end, and the lions limp their way to the stairs and head up to the next floor. They step out of a door onto the 8th floor, Hodge. It is a vast mountainous landscape with craggy peaks and snowy caps, a land riddled with caves and secrets. Walking through Hodge, the lions see a silhouette in the distance. It is a man with 2 swords who is casually swinging at monsters that walk past. It's Rain, but something is wrong with him. His eyes are cold and distant, and he does not seem to hear or notice the lions at all. So the lions decide to subdue him, and Trinity picks him up to carry him back to the guild hall to figure out what to do next. All of a sudden, a voice booms out from behind. They turn to see Azrael, and he demands that the lions put his son down. He says that Rain is enduring his punishment currently for insubordination, and the lions cannot interrupt this important lesson. He tells the lions that he will prove that Rain is being taught, and that he has already learned much, though not enough. He snaps his fingers, and Rain regains his normal demeanor and appearance. Azrael then tells Rain to choose his real family, Nova, or these Azure Lions. Rain turns and tells Trinity that he loves her, that he must go because he wants the lions and her to be safe. He promises that he will do whatever it takes to make sure Nova pays, and then he heads back toward Azrael. Azrael smiles and says, "See, you mean nothing to him." With this comment, Rain steps behind Azrael and drags both of his swords into the man's back. Then the pair vanish, leaving the lions without Rain once more. A few days have passed, and the lions begin to plan what else they want to do on the 8th floor. Then someone, beaten and bruised, teleports into the guild hall. Of course, it is Rain. Rain gives a meek smile and wave before falling to his knees. He tells them that he was able to fend Azrael off, but something weird was going on. In the game and out of it, Rain seemed to be getting weaker and weaker as he fought Azrael, as if something was happening to his body or helmet out of game. Then, suddenly, Azrael stopped fighting, distracted by a message, and then he quickly vanished. Then suddenly, a feed from the real world popped into Rain's HUD. It seems that there is a media frenzy occurring out of game, with the mainstream news sources attacking Nova about their exploitation of players' lives in GEO. Yet, Nova has kept them at bay with promises of eternal life, as well as seemingly have the major governments in their pockets, stemming most of the blowback. After Rain relays this message, his weakened body collapses and he says, "Oh no, I think I'm being taken out of the..." before he cuts off. "Looks like you're not so tough after all, Nova." I was able to get a message out. Who could have possibly leaked those secrets? Oh, that's good. That's good. Wait. If Rain was moved from the game, that means he would be. It seems there was a incident of some kind. There were gunfire, explosions, yelling, and just chaos. Unfortunately, during the commotion, it seems that debris has blocked the door, which means I'm even more trapped in here. Well, I suppose the only thing I can do is keep reporting about the Azure Lions. But maybe I can help them somehow. Yeah. There's something strange going on. I just woke up. There's some kind of virus. Before I tackle that, let me recap what happened from my notes. A few days have passed, and the Lions have done some quests on the 8th floor, and currently have a bounty to clear a dwarven mine of some centurions. Before they get there, though, there is a massive earthquake that extends to what seems the entire reaches of the 8th floor. The automated system's voice rings out, 8th floor boss unleashed. The Lions look and see one of the mountains rising from the ground, reaching miles into the air. The mountain has a head emerge from its base, followed by titanic limbs. The massive creature lets out a deafening roar, and the Lions realize that they are going to have to fight this thing. As they stand and look at the beast, they notice that player after player in GEO begins to warp into the 8th floor. In fact, it seems like all of the players have warped here, and their ability to teleport is currently blocked. It seems Nova is enacting some type of plan to isolate or eliminate all of the players in GEO. As the players take it all in, the mountainous beast stomps its foot into the ground, and there is a notification that 1,000 players die instantly. Leo sends a floor-wide message that they will need to work together and use their combined strength to defeat this thing. The Lions board the Azure Star and begin to attack it from the ground, the air, and atop its back, chipping away at what seems to be a massive pool of health. Maxwell and Leo enact a special plan to deal devastating damage. Maxwell uses a powerful ability to temporarily put the massive beast to sleep, while Leo begins to construct a bomb using special materials. As the beast falls to the ground, cracks and caverns form in the crust on its back and causes players, and even some of the Lions, to fall within the beast's carapace. As the beast slumbers, Leo is able to finish construction of the bomb, and the Lions get into position to try and get the bomb into the beast. However, as soon as they get in position, the beast wakes and rises back to its massive height, knocking the ship back and dislodging the bomb from where it was going to be mounted. As this occurs, a flash of light appears on the ship. The Lions turn and see Hanzo, and he appears to be gravely wounded at the back of the ship, and he is currently running toward them and the bomb. He scoops the bomb up into his arm and leaps off the ship and into the beast's mouth. Before they can react, there's a deafening explosion from inside the mountain. They look around to check on one another, but notice that someone is missing. Duo. Then, a blinding light appears coming from the direction of the beast, intense white light emitting from within the mountain. The Lions are shocked when they receive a message from Duo saying, "Thanks for everything, and sorry for everything. You made me want to be better. I hope you can forgive me and call me friend, just as I have learned to call you friend." Redemption. Then there is a violent explosion from within the depths of the mountain, leaving the beast kneeling and swaying, barely able to hold itself up. The Lions decide not to let this sacrifice be in vain and barrage the beast with cannons until it finally slumps to the ground. It collapses and tilts, its mile-high spine crashing to the earth in the distance. A voice rings out, "The 8th floor boss has been defeated. The 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th floors have now all been opened and can be accessed by the Gaia teleport network. The Lions regroup and take in the scene. Over 10,000 players have died in the course of a few hours because Nova had forced them into this situation. Nova would surely have to pay for this and everything else. Damn it! It locked me out completely. All it is currently a flashing screen. No, it's a party. What does that even mean? And it's blasting the Venga Boys? Either way, I have to try and navigate past whatever this is so I can continue trying to help the Lions, and more importantly, monitor the game and the players. Well, I have plenty of ramen and coffees. I can't go anywhere else, so... Besides, this can't take that long, right? Suck it, Sabal! All right. It was complicated, but I was able to make it to where I can get in. It seems it was a complicated package of viruses that locked us all out. However, I made it so, at the moment, I am the only one who can get into the system. I can hear something and some construction sounds occasionally outside of the door, which means Victor is probably trying to get in here and see what's going on. But I still have plenty of time before they get here, so let's see what the Lions were up to. It has been 2 weeks in GEO, and overall it has been relatively quiet, as it seems that Nova has had no contact in the world. Yet, the hearts of the Lions are heavy, having lost Duo, as well as having learned that both Xylock and Sabal are gone. As the Lions continue to quest on the 8th floor, they find a short, young swordsman named Sky Vortex, who asks to join up with them for a bit. The new player, Sky Vortex, uses a series of moves that look familiar to what they have seen Rain use, making the Lions suspicious. As they travel, the Lions ask why Sky Vortex is seeking them out and what his story is. He tells them that he had friends who died because of Nova's corruption, and he has heard of the secret that the Lions are still leading a rebellion against Nova. The Lions say they are sorry for his loss and that Sky is more than welcome to come back to their guild hall and stay there. Late that night, Maxwell wakes and is exploring outside the guild hall when he sees what appears to be Sky sneaking past and breaking into the forge of the guild. Maxwell follows him, and from the shadows can see Sky standing above one of their forge masters named Jerichal, with a blade in his hand. Maxwell sends a message to the guild, grabs Sky, and asks what the hell is going on. The form of Sky turns, and the visage morphs to that of Rain. Rain sighs and looks back to Jerichal and tells the Lions that she is actually Jackal, a member of Nova that they had met long ago. As this is said, the Lions appear and Jerichal smiles, shedding her guise as well. Now Jackal, she tells the Lions that they were easy to infiltrate and keep an eye on, and that is why it's been easy for Nova to react so quickly. Yet, something has been different the past 2 weeks, as she's been unable to contact Nova. Rain smiles and tells the Lions why. 2 weeks ago, Xylock and Sabal agreed to make a last-ditch attempt to protect and free Rain from Nova's grasp. They led an actual assault on the real Nova HQ, and Xylock was able to separate Rain from the Avatar system safely. He was then able to escape and transfer Rain to a resistance facility where he was reinserted into the game using an encrypted headset. However, Xylock had sustained severe injuries in the escape and decided that if he was going to die, it would be on his own terms. He re-entered the game at the resistance facility and helped the Lions with the bomb. Also, during the attack at Nova HQ, Sabal had made his way into the server room and was able to hijack the code of GEO and insert a virus that would severely limit the ability of Nova to utilize its systems. To be clear, I do not remember any of this. I remember getting water, blacking out, and then waking up with inappropriate drawings plastered across my face. I'm assuming that was Sabal. However, Sabal was overrun by security forces and gunned down. Jackal scoffs at this and says that even if this is true, it will only be a slight bump in Azrael's plans. She then looks to Rain and tells him that he will fulfill his role. Before she can elucidate, it seems her headset is pulled from her head as she writhes in pain before disappearing in a cloud of pixels. Rain looks at the group and says that they have to do whatever they can to progress and take on Nova. Thanks to Zylok and the Resistance efforts, Rain's helmet is unable to be tracked anymore, and thanks to Sabal's work, Nova is severely crippled. Trinity embraces Rain and then slaps him, telling him she can only save him or deal with him going missing so many times. It really is getting old. Preach. She then scoops him up in her arms and heads into the guild hall, followed by the rest of the lions. The world of GEO has begun to take on a snowy and festive appearance, with snow even falling on the beach and ocean floor of Tanzir. The Lions decide to make it a big event and begin planning on how to celebrate in their own way. Trinity makes copious amounts of food while Maxwell helps out. Leo continues mining and using gems and other items to create gifts for the Lions, including 2 very special pieces of jewelry for Rain and Trinity. Sochi grows and nurtures a giant Christmas tree to be positioned in the guild hall. Grainarl goes and looks for crystals to help decorate with and to use for his own personal improvement. Typical. And Rain helps Sochi and all the others how he can, decorating the halls and rooms with Christmas flair. As night sets in, the Lions gather in the main hall and agree that they should exchange gifts tonight over hot cocoa and good company. Attention turns to Rain as he grabs Trinity's hand and pulls out a small box. He tells her to open it and then drops to one knee. She unwraps it to reveal an adamantine ring with a beautiful diamond. Rain asks her if she will make all of his dreams come true and marry him. She laughs and tells him to stand up and open her gift. He does and finds a beautiful green adamantine ring. She continues laughing and says she was going to ask him, but for once, he finally had the proper initiative. She then says, of course, before swooping him up in her arms, princess style, and kissing him deeply. It's so sweet. Their children are going to be so messed up. The Lions awake on Christmas morning to even more snow, and they hear faint music in the distance. They head out into the snow and hear a ho, ho, ho. And as they look up, they see a sleigh and reindeer above them. It seems, though, that the sleigh is getting lower and lower, and soon it crashes somewhere off in the distance. They make their way to the site of the crash and find Santa. Surrounding him, though, are misfits and bandits who have been looking for him. They are upset that he has kept them on the naughty list for so long, and they want revenge. But before they have the chance to attack Santa, the Lions jump in and begin to fight the misfits. They are able to dispatch them quite easily, and then turn to see if Santa is okay. However, they then hear a loud belly laugh, and they turn to see that somehow the defeated misfits had fused together and formed one massive gargantuan mass misfit. He deals devastating blows and uses grapples and fists to keep the Lions at bay. In fact, he does more than that, almost wiping the Lions out completely in what has surely been their toughest combat yet. But by some Christmas miracle, the Lions are able to put the big boy down and save Santa. He gives them each some presents and his thanks before taking off to deliver more presents. The Lions have spent the past week exploring the other floors, as well as learning where the location of the dungeon on the 13th floor is. They arrive there, and it is a complicated maze. But to everyone's surprise, I mean everyone, Grainarl walks casually and quickly through the maze, solving it almost instantly. The Lions find the expected large door beyond, and they push it open and reveal a long hallway lined with braziers and torches. Down the hallway, they can hear hooves clicking on stone. As light floods the hall, a large centaur appears from the shadows, wielding a giant spear. The fight with the floor boss dungeon begins. The lions find themselves in yet another difficult encounter, with the lions being tossed around like rag dolls by the centaur's spears and hooves. The lions are pushed to the absolute limit, but they use their last bit of strength to use a team move, something that they have been practicing with during training. They calm themselves and fuse their abilities together to mount an assault of blades, magic, and light against this centaur and bring it to its knees. Then Trinity and Rain launch themselves toward the head of the beast together and hit it, bringing it down once and for all. As they recover, the door at the end of the hall slowly opens and natural light begins to pour in. They walk out and into a field of tall, wild grass, being swayed gently by the wind like an amber ocean. There is a sweet scent of flowers and cherry blossoms in the air, with rolling hills being seen in the distance. There is also an overwhelming sense of calm, or zen, as they stand on the edge of the new floor, the 14th floor of Dojin. The lions take in the sights around them, and Leo decides that this would be a good place to build a memorial for Hanzo, and even Sabal. The lions walk into the field of grass, following a small winding road toward an Eastern-style town in the distance, curious about what this and the rest of the floors will bring them. I mean, we will see what happens, but regardless of what does, I just want to say to all of those who see this that I believe in the Azure Lions. Also, this experience, it has been the absolute worst of my life. Like, I would have rather walked on Legos barefoot for the rest of my life. I don't know. Maybe there will be more of this. Maybe not. Maybe I'll die. I guess we will all have to find out together on what the Lions do and how GEO progresses. See you next time in Gaia's Edge Online.
We like to party. We like to party. Hey now, you wanna say now, happiness and yonder in the corner. Hey now, you wanna say now, we'll be